Good afternoon. This is Animal Uncontrol. Welcome to MuttHeads. Today's topic are yap bastards, and you probably know to whom I am referring. I'm referring to those that create an intolerable level of noise pollution in our neighborhoods. And that's what we're contemplating, noise pollution. Pursuant to my conversation with AJ on the topic, that is what we're contemplating, noise pollution. Noise pollution basically meets two criteria. It is a noise that is unnatural in origin, it's artificial, and it violates boundaries. It crosses property lines and penetrates walls. That's noise pollution. So, for example, a pin dropping is artificial, but it's not a source of noise pollution. And I'm emphatic about this because mutt nutter propagandists like to conflate these things for propaganda purposes. Barking dogs are the number one source of noise pollution in probably most neighborhoods. In many neighborhoods, it's probably more than everything else combined. When I stand outside, I hear dogs barking from all directions. They carry on for hours a day at nothing, for no reason at all. Now, you can have good noise pollution, such as trash collection, when they're doing you a service. That's where you sort of balance, you do sort of a cost-benefit assessment. You say, yeah, I got a little bit of noise pollution out of this, but they're picking up my trash. So that's a good thing. That's sort of like good noise pollution. And obviously, you don't want there to be any more of that than is necessary. Now, dogs make incredibly loud noises. Let's take a look at how loud a dog is. Now, first, this is one of my blogs from about 10 years ago. It's a barking dog bingo card. And these are all the excuses dog owners and authorities make to excuse the dog. Dogs bark. It's what they do. They tell you to get a life. They deny the dog is barking. They tell you you're too sensitive. They accuse you of being a Nazi or a communist. And it's all nonsense. It's ad hominem deflections. Now, how loud is a dog? This blog here, and actually I think this might actually be exaggerating it, okay? Professional dog handling is a common cause of suffering hearing loss with frequent barking volumes often exceeding 80 decibels and not infrequently reaching 120 decibels. Okay, here's by comparison. Normal conversation is 60, a lawnmower is 90, loud movie, 80 to 100, rock concert, maybe 100 to 115. Now, when you get into, decibel, a decibel is a measure of sound energy, okay? Now, it's not linear. It's logarithmic. So, what happens is, this is a good article. I'll put this in the description. So, in other words, every increase of 3 decibels represents a doubling of sound intensity or acoustic power. Okay, in a work context, this means that a small increase in the number of decibels results in a huge change in the amount of noise, and as such, the potential to damage a person's hearing. Now, we're not necessarily contemplating hearing loss here. Your neighbor's yard barker is probably not going to break your eardrums, but it will keep you awake and cause all kinds of other health problems. What else does this do? What are the health problems associated with continual exposure to noise? It can cause stress, anxiety, depression, high blood pressure, heart disease, and many other health problems. Those are the wages of allowing Fido to carry on all the time. Now, people play this down. They say it's no big deal. Dogs bark, it's what they do. He's just yapping at the mailman. Let me tell you something. The neighbor with a nuisance barker puts you in a special kind of hell that you do not appreciate until you've been through it. This blog, which actually wasn't even written as a blog, it was a desist letter to my neighbor across the street. Okay, this is actually what motivated me to get involved in this space. This converted me to hating dogs, dog owners, and dog culture because they all enable this problem. I was unable to sleep in my home. I couldn't concentrate on my work or pursue any other useful activities because of the nonstop yammering from the worthless mutt across the street. Now, after receiving this and being threatened with a lawsuit, they desisted. The dogs were gone within 2 weeks. So this is an effective way of dealing with this. I'll put this link in the blog also. Now, interestingly, I was looking at this blog for the first time just the other day. Hadn't looked at it in years. Many of these comments are old. But you realize that this kind of thing is not uncommon. It's very, very likely you're going to be in a situation like this. And it's a very difficult problem to solve because in our culture, again, in the current zeitgeist, Fido has superior standing to you. Okay, this is a very difficult problem to solve. In most jurisdictions, dog barking is handled differently than all other sources of noise pollution, such as, say, fireworks, firecrackers, after-hours construction work, and so forth. Typically, dog noise complaints go to animal control, and animal control is where every doggy-related complaint goes to die. You're probably not going to get relief that way, although your mileage may vary. Again, I'm making general premises, not speaking empirically. So in any case, this message was left on my blog actually last September, and this describes another one of these problems. Okay, and I don't know if this is true or not. I'm not going to vouch for the veracity of all this. I don't know this person, and I can't verify this. However, this kind of problem happens all the time. Most of the people who visit my blog are here because of this issue. This particular blog, got 36,000 reads, okay? And probably my average was around 2,000. A lot of people have a problem in this space. This is a very, very serious issue. So what did this person have to say? For 10 of 12 years, I've had to live with constant barking. Actually, most of us, it's 12 out of 12 years. Although, it varies. Typically, if it's not penetrating the walls of my home, I don't do anything, mainly because I know there's almost nothing I can do about it, and at least my life is still livable. But it said even during those 2 years, there was still barking, but it was bearable to me. Then another neighbor, I think it's a theory, killed 3 dogs at 3 different houses with large barking dogs that were kept outside a lot. Now, this is the kind of thing that happens when the government doesn't do their job. Think about one of the most basic reasons we even have a government in the first place. It's to dispense justice. That's what they do. They intervene and they say, set your, blood feuds and whatnot aside and let us resolve the problem. But they don't do it. They always, or 99% of the time, they give Fido a pass. And here's the problem. You dog owners think you can just get away with this forever. But the fact is, and this goes back to my civil rights piece from a week or two ago, is that people have a right. It's a core civil right to peaceful use of your space. If you rent a space, buy a space, pay taxes on a space, maintain a space, that bestows the right to control the noise level in that space. Now, Fido and his owner are taking that away from you when they raise a noise level in your home without your permission. They are trespassing. They are stealing your property rights. Okay, now that is not something that's going to go on forever. Sooner or later, those rights are going to assert themselves, and I do not endorse this type of behavior, but it said funny. They all died of stomach problems. I wonder how that happened. Okay, so that's another reason not to let your dog bark all the time. Okay, and then it goes on. It got really bad because, again, they're, shelter dogs. They're rescues. They're like, oh, they're rescues. I'm such a great person. No, you're scum for bringing these things into our community. You're criminals. Okay, so basically it already stopped using the front of my house. Then this third shelter dog made the back of my house unlivable. Again, when you're subject to loud noises all the time, you can't function. Okay? Let's take a look at this real quick. Decibel level of a chainsaw. We know dogs are typically over 100. A chainsaw, a gasoline-powered chainsaw, is about 106 decibels. Chainsaws are loud. Imagine somebody standing outside your bedroom window revving a chainsaw all night, every night. Try to stay well rested with that going on. Again, the difference is you could get the cops on that person. Okay, but with a dog, it's okay. Now, let's get back to this. Okay, you have dogs barking. Probably there's very little sound insulation. Of course, nothing ended well for me because it never does with this going on. I ended up losing everything. Again, like my conversation with AJ, somebody got barked out of their house. And again, I can't, verify the veracity of this. I don't know this person, but this kind of thing happens all the time, even in my neighborhood. The barker 300 yards away might not be noise polluting the inside of my house, but they're noise polluting the inside of the homes of others. Okay, those people have a noise hazard. The lack of good sleep killed my health. In fact, if you deprive someone of sleep for long enough, they die. I'm still not the same, okay? And you know what? I'm not either. These things change you, okay? When I moved, top criteria, no dogs, a no-dog building. Well, good luck with that, with all the service dog fraudsters out there. Then guess what? They actually changed the policy because of COVID-19, because everybody needs a dog to keep them company when they're working from home, right? Now there are 3 small yappers there. One right above me. Okay, when it barks, it might as well be right inside my apartment. Again, consider how loud this is. If they're running a chainsaw up there, you could hear that too. Loud. Okay, there's one neighbor who was like semi-responsible. Okay, when I complained about the policy change, I was told, that's what they always say, I could just move. That, then you're barking dog bingo. Which one of those is this? Let's see. Why don't you just move? Yep, right here in this column. Why don't you just move? It's another one of their excuses. Basically to put it back on you. See, it's never the dog or the owner. It's always somebody else. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's noise polluting, destroying property, attacking people, it's always somebody else. It's never the dog or the owner. That's their narrative. Okay, so I am just once again stuck listening all freaking day to others' dogs. Okay, cannot walk out the front door and sweep without getting barked at by dogs in the building. And of course, there's a dog, waste issue. Of course, piles of crap just outside my door. It's another thing. Actually, the Ban All Dogs guy put up a really good video about that sort of illustrates that problem. And that is a big problem on its own. That is why every large animal except for dogs are zoned out of residential neighborhoods. One reason, it's the noise pollution and the body waste, not to mention behaving dangerously and sending people to the hospital and to the morgue. So think about it. Do you want this going on in your life? I don't. Nobody does. Why is something that's this loud allowed in our neighborhoods? Doggy double standard. Just something to think about. This is animal uncontrol. And as always, people first.